Have you ever pondered why suffering exists in a world created by a loving God? This question, in its essence, ushers us into a journey to an ancient land, a realm steeped in mystery, concealed by the sands of time, the land of Uz, a place where time itself appears to be in a standstill, where each particle of dust carries narratives from an era that is now no more than a distant memory. It was in this place that a man named Job resided, a man dissimilar to any other that ever stepped foot on earth. Among the inhabitants of this land, Job was remarkable, a luminary of virtue whose radiance illuminated brightly, dispelling the obscurity that lingered within the soul's men. He was a man who held a profound reverence for the divine, a man whose life served as a testament to the power of faith. He was a man who consciously tread the path of righteousness, choosing to distance himself from all forms of evil, rejecting the temptations that often lead individuals astray. The life of Job was a portrait of affluence and abundance, a mirror reflecting God's blessings. He was endowed with tremendous wealth, his treasury filled to the brim with riches that most could only fantasize about. He was the proud father of 10 children, his offspring upholding his name with honor and dignity. His influence extended far and wide, his name acknowledged and esteemed across the vast stretch of the land. On a typical day in the heavenly court of the divine, God, in his boundless wisdom, commenced praising Job's unyielding righteousness. His words echoed throughout the divine assembly, resonating with the praise of a man who epitomized faith in a world teeming with skepticism. However, this praise was not left unchallenged. The accuser, a celestial entity renowned for his craftiness, stood up to dispute the words of the Almighty. He proposed a hypothesis that Job's faith was merely a facade, a byproduct of his prosperity, a faith that would crumble should his blessings be taken away. He suggested that Job's piety was not inherent, but was rather a consequence of his bountiful life. Intrigued by the audacity of the accuser's claim, God chose to give him permission to test Job's faith. God's decision was not derived from distrust, but was one of belief in Job's unwavering faith. God had faith in Job's integrity, his devotion, his steadfast commitment to righteousness. Yet, even in this grand trial, God, in his mercy, imposed the accuser couldn't take Job's life. By granting this divine sanction, the stage was being prepared for a test of faith that would be unparalleled, a test that would stretch the limits of belief, probing the other man's spirit. Unaware of the celestial dialogue, Job was about to be thrust into an ordeal that would transform his life of blessings about to be swept into a whirlwind of challenges and hardships. His wealth, his family, his status in society, everything he cherished were all about to be put under scrutiny. But would Job's faith waver under the onslaught? Would he condemn God and surrender to the accuser's prediction? Or would he, in the face of unimaginable suffering, remain unwavering in his and reverence for God? These questions lingered heavily in the assembly, a palpable tension that filled the celestial air. The divine beings looked on, their gaze fixed on the mortal realm where a single man's faith was about to raise a storm, a tempest that would question the heavens themselves. And so the divine assembly observed, waited, and speculated. Their anticipation was tangible, their tension mirrored in the hush of the heavens. The stage was set, the characters in place, and the curtains were about to be raised on a divine drama that would echo through the ages. Job's existence, his faith, his undying devotion, everything was about to be put to the ultimate test. As the world went about its humdrum routine, oblivious to the impending drama, in the heavens the divine beings held their breath, waiting to witness the spectacle that was about to unfold. This divine drama, this celestial play, was not merely about the faith of one man. It was a profound reflection on the nature of faith itself, about the strength of belief, about the power of conviction, and the potential of human spirit. It was about the eternal battle between good and evil, about the timeless conflict between righteousness and iniquity. In this mega stage of cosmic proportions, Job, the man of Uz, was at the epicenter. The trials that were about to come his way were unlike any he or anyone else had ever faced. This was a test not merely of his faith, but of the very fabric of his character, his resilience, his indomitable spirit. Would Job's faith waver? Would he succumb to the pain and anguish? Would he falter, or would he emerge victorious, his faith shining brighter than ever, a beacon of hope for all those who believe? The divine waited with bated breath, their gaze fixed on the mortal realm where a single man's faith was about to be tested. In the blink of an eye, Job's life was about to be turned upside down. Imagine waking up one day to find your world crumbling around you. The thought itself is alarming. Now, let's take a journey back in time to a land named Uz, where a man named Job lived. Job was not an ordinary man. He was known for his righteousness and integrity. Just like any other day, he woke up one morning, perhaps to the melodious chirping of birds and the golden rays of the day seeping through his curtains. Little did he know, it was going to be a day like no other. As the rose, so did his troubles. His wealth, once flourishing and ample, disappeared faster than a fleeting shadow. He had built an empire of prosperity with years of diligence and hard work. His fields were rich with grazing livestock, and his house was filled with cheerful and diligent servants. But in the blink of an eye, raiders his peaceful haven. They were swift, fierce, and showed no mercy. Like a desert storm, they left nothing untouched in their wake. In one disastrous moment, his livestock and servants were swept away. But Job's trials and tribulations were only just beginning. Mother Nature entered the scene, her wrath spiraling out of control. A wind, mighty in its power, stormed through the land. It was not an ordinary wind, it was as if an angry deity had unleashed it. This massive gust swept towards Job's home where his beloved children were, their laughter echoing in the walls. With a thunderous crash, the house collapsed, extinguishing their young, vibrant lives. It was a moment that shattered the core of Job's existence. Imagine the depth of his heartbreak, the profound despair he must have felt as he stood amid the ruins of his home, his life. His children no more, his wealth was reduced to ashes, and his once bustling life had suddenly become a graveyard of his Job was wrapped in profound grief. But even in the face of such calamity, he did not sin against his God. Instead, he mourned. He mourned for his untimely loss, for his wealth, for the life he once knew and cherished. Through his tears and sorrow, he held on to his faith. He did not question the divine design, nor did he curse his fate. He acknowledged the transient nature of worldly possessions. He echoed the words, "The Lord gave and the Lord has a way. Blessed be the name of the Lord." His response in the face of such shattering loss and devastation showed his unwavering faith, his unyielding trust in the divine. It was as if he was declaring to the world, "I am Job, I am a man of God. And though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil." His faith echoed in every word, in every silence. The strength he exhibited was incredible, worthy of admiration. Yet the accuser, the one who had been observing all this, was not done. He saw Job's steadfastness, his refusal to renounce his faith, even direst of circumstances, and he plotted his next move. But let's leave that story for another time, for another scene. For now, let's divert our attention to Job's character. The strength of his character, the resilience he showed in the face of unimaginable loss, is something that to be pondered upon. Every trial seemed to reinforce his faith, rather than break it. He was severely tested. His faith was put through the crucible, but he emerged stronger, his belief unshaken. He was like gold refined by fire, gleaming in purity and strength. It's a tale as old as time, yet its relevance doesn't diminish. Amidst the chaos of our modern lives, Job's story serves as a stark reminder of the power of unwavering faith. It encourages us to cultivate resilience and remain steadfast when faced with adversity. The tale of Job is a testament to the power of faith and the strength of the human spirit in the face of adversity. Job's faith was tested, but not broken. What if your suffering didn't end there? Imagine a man not dissimilar to our friend Job, a man whose life had once been filled with prosperity, joy, and the love of his offsprings. A man who, after witnessing the ruthless obliteration of his wealth and the untimely demise of his children, now finds himself plagued with painful sores. These sores stretch from the soles of his feet to the crown of his head, an agonizing testament to his heartache. They are a physical manifestation of his internal turmoil, a constant, excruciating reminder of his profound sorrow and the harsh blow that fortune had dealt him. Now let us step into this scene. Picture Job's wife, a woman who once reveled in their shared prosperity and happiness. This is a woman who, in better times, basked in the joy that life had to offer them. However, in these testing times, she shares in his agony. She ceaselessly watches as her husband's spirit bleeds through his physical suffering, and in her despair, she urges Job to renounce God and accept his impending death, a chilling, heartbreaking plea born out of love and the unbearable sight of her husband's torment. Their once joyful dwelling now resonates with the echoes of agony and despair. Yet amidst the pain and suffering, Job does not waver. His body is racked with sores, his heart scarred by loss, but his spirit remains untamed, unwavering and steadfast. He turns to his wife, and with the wisdom that can only be carved by chisel of suffering, he asks, "Shall we accept good from God and not trouble?" His words reverberate in the ensuing silence, marking a testament to his unwavering faith. This is a man whose body is weak, whose heart is heavy, whose life had been stripped of all joy. Yet his faith remains as strong as a fortress. It's the kind of faith that doesn't crumble under the weight of adversity. A faith that doesn't waver when abandoned by the world. Is a faith that has been tried, tested and solidified in the face of unimaginable suffering. In the depths of his misery, Job laments his very birth. His cry, raw and heart-wrenching, resonates with the severity of his pain. Yet, even in his darkest hour, he doesn't curse his God. His lament is not a renouncement, but a raw, honest conversation with his Creator, a dialogue that bridges the chasm between human suffering and divine justice. Through his sorrow and sores, through the ashes of his life, Job teaches us a profound lesson. He imparts a lesson about faith that stands strong against the test of time, about the strength of spirit that surpasses the physical realms of suffering, about the courage to question the divine, yet remain faithful to one's beliefs. He is a testament to the human spirit's resilience, to the faith that refuses to be shattered by the cruel games of life. His narrative is not just a tale of suffering and loss, but also a saga of immense fortitude and unwavering faith. Despite the pain that had wrecked his life, Job's spirit remained unbroken. Though his body was in pain, Job's spirit remained unbroken. Amidst the sores and sorrow, Job's story is not just about suffering, but about enduring faith, about a man who, in the face of unimaginable adversity, chose to remain steadfast in his belief. What happens when those meant to comfort you turn against you? It's a question that can be both intriguing and daunting, but isn't that the nature of life? Life is a series of events, weaving an intricate tapestry of experiences that shape us, define us, in some instances can even break us. The tale we're about to delve into brings to light the grim reality of such an occurrence. It's a story of faith and of suffering and understanding, of accusation and defense. It's a saga that revolves around a man named Job and his three companions, Eliphaz, Bildad and Zophar. Job, for those unfamiliar with his story, was a man of unquestionable righteousness. He was a man faith in God was unshakable, whose fear of evil was commendable. But he was also a man beset by unparalleled adversity, a man whose life was riddled with inexplicable sorrow. His story is a testament to the human capacity for endurance, resilience, and unwavering faith. Eliphaz, Bildad, and Zophar were Job's companions, tied to him by the bonds of friendship. They were supposed to provide solace, offer comfort. They were supposed to ease his pain, lighten his burdens. But as the tale unfolds, we find that they inadvertently added to Job's distress. As they arrived to comfort him, there were not that of immediate consolation, but of silence. They were silent, perhaps taken aback by the magnitude of their friend's suffering. Their silence, however, was just the before the storm. Their silence gave way to dialogues that were fraught with accusation and condemnation. They attributed Job's suffering to sin, to wrongdoing. The assertion wasn't just misplaced, it was deeply hurtful. Eliphaz was the first to voice this sentiment. He suggested that the innocent do not perish, that the upright are not destroyed. Hence, in his limited understanding, Job's was a direct result of his transgressions. Bildad and Zophar, perhaps influenced by Eliphaz's conviction, echoed this sentiment. They joined in the chorus of accusations, labeling Job a sinner undeserving of divine favor. Job, however, was not a man to accept such allegations silently. He was a man of unwavering righteousness, a man who knew the depth of his faith, the extent of his. He defended his innocence with the same tenacity, the same vigor with which he clung to his faith amidst his crushing adversities. He refuted his friends' claims, asserted his integrity. He questioned not the existence of justice, but its application. He wondered why he, a man who feared God and shunned evil, was made to suffer. Job's friends, who were supposed to be his comforters, his allies, turned into his critics. They turned into his accusers. They were friends turned foes. Yet, in their misguided accusations, they served a purpose. They provoked Job to question, to seek. They stirred in him a yearning for a deeper understanding of his predicament. Their dialogues, their debates, sparked a discourse that highlighted a universal human struggle. The quest for meaning in suffering, the longing for divine justice in a world often filled with inexplicable pain. Their exchange underscored the human desire for a mediator, someone who could bridge the gap between the human and the divine. Job longed for a mediator with God, for someone who could serve as a bridge between the human and the divine. He for someone who could truly understand his predicament, both his earthly suffering and his spiritual struggle. And in his yearning, we see a reflection of our own universal human quest for understanding, for empathy, and for divine justice. Job longed for a mediator with God, a bridge between the human and the divine. And in this longing we see an echo of our own yearning, our own quest for understanding, for empathy, and for divine justice. Can suffering serve a purpose beyond punishment? This question forms the crux of Elihu's intervention in the tale of Job's trials and tribulations, a critical and transformative moment that has been contemplated and analyzed throughout the ages. Elihu, often overlooked in the grand scheme of the narrative, was merely a young bystander, observing quietly from the fringes of the grand spectacle. He had silently watched as the tale of Job unfolded, witnessing the intense dialogues between Job and his companions, Eliphaz, Bildad, and Zophar. He observed their discussions and arguments, their attempts to make sense of the inexplicable suffering and pain that had befallen their friend Job. But here's an essential point to note about Elihu. His silence was not a sign of indifference or inactivity. Quite the contrary, it was as if he was the calm, the quiet before the storm. He was stillness before the tempest of insight and wisdom that was about to unfold. He was observing, contemplating, and preparing his contribution to this profound discussion. When Elihu finally broke his silence, he did so with a critique that was as remarkable as it was unforeseen. The young bystander, who had been so quiet and unobtrusive, suddenly emerged as a force to be reckoned with. He criticized Job and his friends. He challenged their presumptions, their interpretations of Job's suffering. His words carried a unique perspective, a new way of viewing suffering, not as a mere punitive measure, but as a potentially redemptive process. He critiqued Job's friends, who had been misguided in their attempts to link Job's suffering directly to some undisclosed sin. To Elihu, this was an oversimplification of divine justice, an attempt to fit the divine into the narrow confines of human understanding. It was as if they were trying to constrain infinity within a finite mind, to make the vastness of the divine comprehensible by reducing it to human-sized proportions. On the other hand, Elihu also critiqued Job himself. He found fault with Job's insistence on his innocence, his plaintive demand for a direct answer from God. Elihu asserted that Job's focus on his own righteousness was perhaps blinding him to the broader picture, preventing him from seeing the larger cosmic narrative at play. But Elihu did more than just critique. He didn't merely point out the flaws in others' arguments. He offered an alternative view, a new lens through which to perceive suffering. He suggested that suffering could serve as a crucible for character, as a tool for the refinement of the soul. He proposed a shift in perspective, from viewing suffering as a consequence to understanding it as a catalyst. He emphasized that suffering could be a means of divine communication, a way for God to guide individuals towards growth and enlightenment. It was as if he was pointing to a new path, a road less traveled, a path that veered away from the traditional interpretations of suffering and towards a transformative understanding of it. Elihu's discourse was not just about Job's suffering, but about divine justice and sovereignty. He underscored that God's ways are beyond human comprehension, that his justice is not bound by our limited understanding. He reminded everyone that God's sovereignty is absolute, and his actions are not subject to human approval or disapproval. He drew attention to the fundamental truth that mortal comprehension is limited, and divine essence is limitless. He emphasized God's majesty, his supreme power that transcends human understanding. Elihu challenged the conventional wisdom, introducing a fresh perspective on suffering. His words serve as a reminder that our understanding of suffering, divine justice, and God's sovereignty is often limited by our own perspectives. He urged everyone to consider that there's more than what meets the eye, that there are deeper, hidden meanings that can only be perceived if one is willing to look beyond the surface. And perhaps, just perhaps in perspective, can illuminate the hidden purposes and profound lessons embedded in our trials and tribulations. Perhaps, if we are open to it, suffering can lead us not just to despair, but to a new understanding, a new way of interpreting the world and our place in it. It can lead us to deeper insights, to spiritual growth, to the ultimate realization of our true potential. From the profound depth of his wisdom, Elihu's words echo across time, reminding us of the transformative potential inherent in suffering. His words urge us to reassess our understanding and redefine our interpretations of suffering, divine justice, and God's sovereignty. And perhaps, just perhaps, a shift in perspective can illuminate the hidden purposes and profound lessons embedded in our trials and tribulations. When God finally spoke, what did he say? A vortex of divine power awoke, and from its epicenter, the voice of the Almighty reverberated. It was not a soft whisper of solace or a gentle hum of reassurance, but rather, God's voice was a formidable challenge, a challenge that resonated across the boundless depths of the cosmos, a challenge that penetrated the raw core of Job's sorrow. "Where were you when I laid the earth's foundation?" the Creator asked, his voice echoing with the majesty and scale of his work. "Who determined its measurements? Surely you are aware." His voice thundered, each word a thunderbolt of divine wisdom. The questions rolled out, not as an indictment or rebuke, but as a profound reminder of the divine orchestration of the cosmos. A reminder of the secrets of the morning stars harmonizing in their celestial choir, of the sea swaddled in the womb of the clouds, and of the dawn knowing its ordained place. The questions flowed, cascading like a torrential river, transporting Job in their powerful undercurrent. "Have you commanded the morning or directed the dawn to its place?" God questioned, with an authority that only the Creator could command. "Have you traversed to the fountains of the vast sea or treaded the hidden corridors of the unfathomed deep?" With each question, the essence of divine authority was laid bare. The majesty of creation and the complex intricacies of life's design were unveiled. God's words, not an admonition or a castigation, but a mirror reflecting Job's limited understanding of the universe, a stark contrast to the divine wisdom. They were a reminder of the gaping chasm that lies between human comprehension and divine knowledge. Each question a testament to God's omnipotence, an invitation to recognize and acknowledge the divine mystery that pervades the universe. And in the face of these profound questions, Job humbly acknowledged his ignorance. "I know that you can do all things," he confessed in a moment of revelation. "No purpose of yours can be thwarted." Job saw his own insignificance in the grand cosmic design, his own naivety in the face of the mysteries of creation. He understood the limitations of his human and the boundlessness of God's wisdom. Job's response was a testament, a homage to his unwavering faith. In the throes of his suffering, Job did not demand explanations or justifications. Instead, he surrendered to the divine mystery. He repented in dust and ashes, accepting his limited understanding and acknowledging God's infinite wisdom and knowledge. In the face of the divine, Job realized his limited understanding. He emerged from his trials with renewed respect for the divine, a deeper understanding of his place in the grand tapestry of creation. He had ventured into the heart of the whirlwind and had found not answers, but humility and faith. And in that whirlwind, Job discovered the essence of his existence. He realized his place in the universe and found a deeper meaning in his sufferings. He learned to surrender to the divine will and found peace in his acceptance. Job had journeyed into the heart of the divine mystery and emerged with a profound understanding of his place in the universe. His trials had not broken him. Instead, they had reshaped him, made him stronger, and filled him with a deeper understanding of the divine plan. His journey was not just one of suffering and pain, but also one of revelation and growth. He understood that he was but a small piece in the grand scheme of the cosmos, a thread in the tapestry of creation. But he also understood that every thread is essential, every piece significant. And in understanding this, he also found his purpose, his role in the grand design. Job had stepped into the heart of the whirlwind and emerged not broken, but reborn. His faith had been tested, his understanding challenged, and in the end, he had stood firm. He had accepted his ignorance and embraced divine wisdom. He had surrendered to the divine will and found solace in his acceptance of God's infinite wisdom. Job's journey was a testament to his unwavering faith, his unyielding resolve in the face of adversity. He had faced the whirlwind and emerged stronger, wiser, and more faithful. His journey was a testament to the power of faith, the strength of resolve, and the depth of understanding that can be found in surrendering to the divine will. In the heart of the whirlwind, Job found not answers, but humility and faith. Can there be restoration after such profound loss? This question provokes us to ponder over the power of healing and renewal. The answer is woven into the narrative of a man named Job, who, despite enduring unimaginable loss, emerged from his trials with a sense of divine restoration and abundant blessings. In the aftermath of a divine discourse, God, the creator of the universe and the ultimate judge, turned his divine attention to the friends of Job. These were men who had been misguided in their understanding and representation of God's justice. They had spoken words that were not rightly guided, and they stood corrected, rebuked, and admonished by the Almighty himself. Yet it is essential to note that God, in his infinite mercy, purity, and kindness, did not entirely abandon or forsake them. He did not turn a blind eye to their remorse and willingness to amend their ways. In his infinite wisdom and profound love, the Lord provided them with a path of redemption. He instructed them to offer sacrifices as a demonstration of their repentance, a tangible expression of their humility, and their resolve to make amends. This was an opportunity for them to show their sincerity and willingness to rectify their misconceptions. However, in this narrative of divine discourse, an unexpected twist occurred that would serve to further humble these men. They were required to seek the counsel and intercession of Job, the very man they had previously judged and misunderstood. Job, the man they had erroneously assessed, was now called to be their mediator, their intercessor, the one who would pray and intercede on their behalf before the Almighty. This chapter in their lives served as a humbling moment, a stark, clear, and poignant reminder of how they had misunderstood and misconstrued Job's predicament. Yet they accepted this divine injunction, complied obediently with the divine command, and offered their sacrifices. And in this grand display of humility and repentance, Job stood by their side as their intercessor, praying fervently and earnestly for his friends. As this chapter of Job's life closed, another opened, marking the start of a new era. This was not just any era, but one by divine restoration and mercy. God, in his boundless compassion, limitless kindness, and incomparable love, restored Job's fortunes. This was not a simple or ordinary restoration. It was an extraordinary and miraculous doubling of his previous wealth. The coffers of Job were filled to the brim, his barns were overflowing, livestock multiplied, all evident signs of God's favor and blessings. But the divine blessings did not stop there. The merciful God blessed Job with more children, another 7 sons and 3 daughters, a blessing that filled his home with joy and laughter once again. The laughter of children echoed through the halls of his home, their playful banter a sweet melody that mended Job's broken heart and filled it with a renewed sense of hope and happiness. Job lived a long, full life blessed with prosperity, good health and longevity. He witnessed 4 generations becoming a patriarch in his own right. His life became a testament, a powerful narrative of his unwavering faith in God and unfailing goodness, and a beacon of hope and faith for all. He had walked through the darkest valley, the valley of the shadow of death, yet he feared no evil, for he knew that God was with him. Job, in his restoration, witnessed firsthand the grace, mercy, love and blessings of God. His story, a powerful of loss and gain, suffering and comfort, despair and hope, serves as a beacon of faith for all who navigate the tumultuous seas of life. It resounds with the timeless truth that God restores, heals, and makes all things new. It echoes the divine promise that those who sow in tears shall indeed reap with shouts of joy. What can we learn from Job's story? The narrative of Job is an intricate tapestry woven with threads of faith, suffering, divine justice, and the human condition. It is a tale enveloped in the universal experience of adversity and an odyssey for understanding amidst the often tumultuous and inexplicable journey of life. Firstly, let's delve deeper into the undercurrent of faith running through Job's story. Job's unwavering trust in God, even in the face of unimaginable loss and suffering, paints a vivid portrait, a tableau of the steadfast that is unshaken and uncompromised. His faith was not contingent on prosperity or comfort. It was not a fair-weather friend that deserts when the storm clouds gather. Instead, Job's faith was deeply rooted. It was a part of his very being. It sprung from his reverence for the divine. In the parched desert of his existence, it was an oasis of hope. This theme serves as a stark and powerful reminder of the enduring power of faith, even when the winds of adversity threaten to snuff out its flame. As we step further into the labyrinth of Job's narrative, we stumble upon the theme of suffering, a universal experience that is inescapable. Job's stories shy away or sugarcoat the harsh realities of pain and sorrow. It does not offer false promises of a world devoid of suffering. Instead, it acknowledges suffering as an inseparable part of the human condition, as a companion that often walks alongside us on the journey of life. But it also challenges us to reflect on our response to suffering. Job's lamentations are raw and honest. They echo with the anguish of his tormented soul, yet amidst this darkness he refrains from renouncing his faith. The conversations between Job and his friends, as well as Elihu's profound insight, grapple with the gnawing questions of why the righteous suffer and the nature of divine retribution. These discussions offer a cornerstone to ponder the complex interplay between divine sovereignty and human understanding. They underscore our limited comprehension in the face of the divine's inscrutable ways. Finally, the story of Job confronts the human condition in its entirety. It encapsulates the breadth of human experience, the spectrum that stretches from joy and prosperity to loss and suffering, from doubt and confusion to revelation and understanding. It underscores the complexity of our existence, our constant grappling with the ephemeral nature of life, our relentless search for meaning in the face of life's vagaries. Perhaps the most compelling theme of Job's story is the inscrutable ways of the divine. God's response from the whirlwind underscores the vast chasm between divine wisdom and human understanding. It serves as a humbling reminder of our finite comprehension in the face of infinite wisdom. It is a call to humility, to acknowledging our limitations while continuing to seek wisdom and understanding. Job's story invites us to contemplate the profound mysteries of faith and the divine. It prompts introspection. It beckons us to grapple with these themes in our own journeys. It reminds us that wisdom often emerges from the crucible of suffering, and that faith, in its truest form, endures beyond the confines of our understanding. Job's narrative is a poignant reminder that the journey of faith is not a smooth, straight road, but a winding path marked with trials and tribulations. It underscores the truth that faith is not a mere feeling, but a choice, a commitment that stands unwavering even when the world around us crumbles. In the face of God's power and wisdom, Job's story teaches us humility and submission, reminding us that our understanding is finite and we cannot comprehend the infinite wisdom of the divine. It encourages us to trust even when we cannot understand, to hold on to faith even amidst the storm. Job's story does not promise a life free of suffering, but it offers the hope that faith endures, that after the night, dawn surely comes. It's a beacon of hope in the darkness, a testament to the enduring power of faith, and a reminder that even in our greatest trials, we are not alone. As we conclude our journey through Job's story, we'd like to extend a special thanks. The credit for the creation of this beautiful narrative goes to various individuals and technologies who've contributed their skills and resources. However, the most significant contribution has indeed come from the realm of artificial intelligence. Fundamental in this process has been JC and his toolbox of custom AI pipelines. JC, a visionary and technologist in the AI domain, has revolutionized the way we understand and utilize technology. His toolbox is a comprehensive suite of AI solutions designed to enhance creative capabilities and push the boundaries of what is possible. The level of intricacy and sophistication that his tools bring to the table has been instrumental in crafting this remarkable tale. The detailed characterization, the intricate plot developments, and the emotive nuances would not have been possible without the power of AI. It allows us to delve deeper, to explore the unexplored, and to paint a picture that is as vivid as it is captivating. It has helped us to weave a narrative that not only draws you in, but also makes you a part of the journey. However, the utility of AI extends far beyond content creation. It's about crafting experiences that linger in the minds and hearts of the audience. It's about transcending the conventional limits of storytelling and truly connecting with the audience on a deeper, personal level. The experience we've just shared is a testament to this transformative power of AI, and yet we've only scratched the surface. There's so much more that AI can achieve in the realm of content creation and storytelling. Its potential is immense and largely untapped. For those considering an investment, consider the potential of AI. It can change the way we tell stories, the way we connect with our audience, and the way we perceive the world around us. Imagine the possibilities. Imagine the stories that we could together, stories that are personal, poignant and powerful. Stories that reflect our collective experiences, dreams and aspirations. Stories that make us think, feel and grow. These are the kinds of stories that AI can tell. We are on the cusp of a new era in storytelling, an era where AI and human creativity work in unison to create narratives that are deeply engaging, profoundly impactful, and utterly unforgettable. This is the future that we envision, and we invite you to be a part of it. Join us exploring the limitless possibilities of AI. Engage with us in this grand adventure of unraveling the potential of AI. Contribute your own unique perspectives and ideas to this creative endeavor. Together, we can harness the power of AI to create something truly extraordinary.